Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to Radio Wasteland, the best in paranormal talk radio. I'm your host, Chauncey Hallworth, and this is my co-host, Kara Kittrick.
Hello.
Kara, do you have any news for us today?
Yes, I do. Let's run down the list here. So a massive carcass that washed up on the island of Seram in Indonesia last week has spurred speculation as to what sort of creature it might be. Although many scientists believe it to be a rotting whale, others thought it was perhaps a giant squid, as it appeared to have tentacles. The massive corpse appeared to be nearly 20 feet long and sparked interest among some in the cryptozoological community, for whom this represents a classic sea monster find. Representative Mark Walker of North Carolina, a member of the Congressional Counterterrorism Subcommittee, has been pressing the Navy for more details on its UFO reports. Quote, based on pilot accounts, encounters with these UAPs often involved complex flight patterns and advanced maneuvering, which demand extreme advances in quantum mechanics, nuclear science, electromagnetics, and thermodynamics, he wrote in a letter to the Navy Secretary. If these accounts are true, the unidentified craft could pose serious security risks to our military personnel and defense apparatus, he went on to say. He also requested information on any other countries which might possess the advanced aerospace capabilities necessary to produce such craft. The Express, which is a silly and untrustworthy tabloid paper, reports that conspiracy theorists believe they've spotted an alien fleet near the sun in newly released NASA images. The photos appear to show a series of bright lights in formation near the camera, although they are blob-like and without particular form. The Express also reported that a massive alien base was spotted recently on the moon, so keep your eyes open. Finally, there were 3 shootings last week at Gilroy, El Paso, and Dayton, with a combined death toll of more than 30. So our condolences to the families of the victims. At least 2 of these shooters were violent conspiracy theorists, so I feel it is important to point out that we here at Radio Wasteland do what we do for entertainment and do not condone taking anything we say too seriously. Like, assume that everything you hear on this show is probably incorrect, okay? Back to you, Chauncey.
Yeah. You know, it's weird that we live in a world where we have to throw our own credibility out the window just because people are nuts. You know, It is without a doubt M. Night Shyamalan's least popular film, but man, The Happening is happening. People are just going weird, you know, and like, Trump's up there blaming video games and stuff. I don't know about that one. Mental health, I'm on board with him.
Wait, did he say that?
I don't think it's fair of me to say he's blaming video games. That was one of that was one of the things that he had in the list of possible issues doing this. Another one was mental health, which I am totally on board with.
Right.
Mental health.
I mean, I think we need better mental health treatment in this country, but I don't think that's...
I can't do video games. It's hard to take my own experience and put it on other people and assume that they're going to be just like me. But personally, anybody who knows me knows that I have grown up watching and reading the most messed up things known to man as a horror film fan. I like it freaky. And, the thought of killing other people, rarely ever crossed my mind.
Yeah, same.
You got to be realistic. Sometimes, somebody cuts you off in traffic and you're all,
right.
The thought crosses people's mind,
Right,
we have to,
and that's just part of being like a normal human being.
Right, but I don't have any sort of weird obsessive thing. I never fantasized about killing anybody. I like it fake. I like it pretend. I don't want to see real people die. I don't want to watch faces of death. I don't like none of that. I want to pretend. So video games are pretend, and I think people know that, So I don't know if people are really glorifying that. And if they do, the world moving forward, if they want to glorify that, they can join the military and fly drones. Well, I'm not kidding. It really creates a world where,
you're not wrong. But
where they could actually put those skills into a combat
too
situation.
Much better, but
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm really saying anything that matters here. Maybe I better move on before I get myself in trouble. Everything that I just said there has nothing to do with nothing. All right, so a massive carcass, whale, squid, Cthulhu, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if it's quite Cthulhu-sized, but, mini Cthulhu.
Baby Cthulhu?
Bite-sized Cthulhus, yeah.
Somebody's going to be coming trying to find the baby, and they're just going to find a body?
Ooh, not good.
Not good.
I mean, that's how humanity is destroyed.
Yeah, Jaws 2, The Revenge. I mean, we've already seen what could happen.
Although, fun fact, do you know the original Call of Cthulhu, they beat him by driving a steamboat into his head. Right? That's pretty anticlimactic. Like, they find this city that's been, raised above the ocean by an earthquake that messed up the water level, and they accidentally awaken this thing, and it's chasing them through the ocean, and it's like large enough that it's sort of wading in the ocean, and they just drive their steamboat directly into its face, and it kills it.
But to be fair, at the time of this being written, the steamboat was one of the amazing marvels of technology that they used to take this thing down.
I mean, I guess that's true.
They were just all, Fulton, man. Fulton is like saved the world with his technological brilliance. I think that was more 1850, but still,
Yeah, but I think Lovecraft was maybe a few decades behind the times.
Yeah, he was.
A couple of ways.
He was a cowardly racist man in a hotel room with a typewriter,
Precisely.
Right. And then Spotted Alien Fleet, I like that. Base on the Moon, I like that.
Yeah, the Express always has good stuff. I don't usually like to dip into tabloids, though, because it's like, keep in mind, though, that this is made up.
Yeah, totally. Like Bad Boy. Right.
Exactly. There's nothing there. But I thought the pictures were pretty interesting, because they were legitimate pictures of the sun from NASA.
Right.
And it did kind of look like an alien
pulling the structures on the moon, Richard Hoagland sort of thing.
No, the moon one, I'm pretty sure, was complete nonsense.
No, but he was using actual photos, showing things, basically saying this could be a structure.
Right.
Utilizing actual photos to do it. Yeah.
No, that's what they were doing.
Okay, so before we go to our first break in Jared news. So Jared and I have been friends for about 2 years.
Indeed.
And 2 years ago, when we first started being friends, Jared asked me to watch this show, Mindhunter.
Okay.
And, I never watched it. I still haven't watched it. And, every couple of weeks it comes up, he's just all, hey, man, you watch Mindhunter yet? And he's just, oh, you haven't watched Mindhunter. So finally, Jared tells me about the show The Boys.
Okay.
And last week, so this is for you, Jared, I finally took one. Last week, I accidentally took an entire day off of work in order to marathon that entire show out in a single day on a weekday. And ended up having to work late that night. Well, it's 8 hours. I sat there for 8 hours and marathoned out at my desk The Boys on Amazon.
That's impressive.
So, Jared, you got a home run with that one.
All right, well.
I like how you're blaming Jared for this debacle.
Well, I'm not blaming him.
You got me really excited about the Mindhunter thing. I was like, finally watched it. And you're like, yeah, I still
I didn't watch it. Not going to watch it. But The Boys is awesome. Hecka good. It's basically about people trying to take out baddie superheroes, something that's been hit quite a bit here lately. But super high budget. Carl Urban's in it. Great actors in it.
I do like me some Carl Urban.
Good show. I don't know. Do we get an affiliate marks? Anybody paying us affiliate money for this?
They ought to.
Yeah, well.
We're superstars.
Never mind. Don't watch The Boys. The Boys sucks. Unless they pay me money.
Remember, everything we say here is wrong.
Everything we say here is wrong. Absolutely. So today's guest, we have William Pullin back, and we're going to talk about everything but UFOs, because that's William Pullin's thing. What we're doing is a conspiracy roundtable. We're going to run through all of them, and we're going to say what we think. Are they plausible? Where are we at? And so on and so forth. So, come on back with William Pullin as we do our mystery roundtable.
Oh, yeah. Swing that thing.
Radio Wasteland comes to you from the Reading studios of Free Fire Radio, 96.5 FM and AM 1460. Visit Radio Wasteland at Instagram at instagram.com/Radio Wasteland.
All right, welcome back to Radio Wasteland, and it's our guest, William Pullin. We're doing a bit of a roundtable. I don't know if William is as much of a guest this time as he is a co-host. William, we got you there with us?
I'm here. How you guys doing?
Not bad. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Looking forward to this roundtable.
Yeah. So in this case, you're a little more of a co-host and a little less of a guest. So all the talking does not land on your shoulders, luckily. And we're going to talk about everything but aliens and UFOs because, frankly, William, we've heard enough of that out of you. But I figured, we do whole shows on aliens and UFOs with William, so it'd be just kind of fun to talk about this stuff. At the end of our last show, we kind of did this a little bit with our guest Carl Pott, and it led me to the good idea that we should do this. Or I don't know, is it wrong to call your own idea a good idea?
Well, it's not proven yet. This might be a disaster.
Oh, true. This might be a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
that's true. All right, so for those of you at home who don't know, William Pullin is the host and moderator of U for Real Facebook group. U for Real UFO historical. I don't know if I got the whole title right. What's the title?
U for Real, a historical review.
A historical review, which is a Facebook group where William does most of his UFO researching. And I urge you to check it out because, it's a lot of nuts and bolts paperwork stuff that actually has some proof behind it. So, all right. So, William, given the current situation with all the shootings and everything that has been going on, we see both sides of the government going head to head with one another. And while there is probably some conspiracy to figure out as to why these people are doing these things, we'll let Alex Jones figure that out. But the
sorry, had to suppress a shudder. Go on.
But it does make me think about the world, the New World Order, the Illuminati, Trump-Russia conspiracy, or the deep state. These are a big batch of conspiracies that seem to suck everybody in. Everybody's either thinking that Trump is in cahoots with Russia on one side, and on the other side, they believe in the deep state, where they're trying to take control via socialism, and both would lend themselves to some sort of New World Order and or Illuminati. So, why don't we put this on Kara first? We'll spare William having to.
Well, so which one?
Well, what do you think? I mean, they all kind of fit into the exact same thing.
Okay.
Basically, you're either Trump, Russia, or deep state, and then on both those angles, it's how far are you going to go?
Okay. Illuminati, no, I don't think that's a thing at all.
Yeah.
That's basically just a pretty anti-Semitic conspiracy theory from the 30s. I think there's basically zero merit to it. New World Order, same thing.
Well, I think a lot of people, when they think of the Illuminati, they don't think of something specifically from the 30s or anti-Semitic.
I know, but that's where it started, and it hasn't changed that much.
Okay, well,
people have just whitewashed it a little.
A controlling order of people.
Yeah, so. I guess I don't really believe in that either, mostly because of the order part. Obviously, there are people in this world who are rich and powerful, but I don't think they're very coordinated. Right. Trump, Russia, yeah, I definitely think there's something there. Our intelligence community thinks so. They would know, right? Deep state, it depends on how you define it. If you define it as, unelected bureaucrats interfering with the work lives of elected officials, absolutely, that's a thing that happens.
Right.
That's just the way our government works.
What's your take, William?
I don't put any credence into the Illuminati scenario at all. The Trump-Russia thing, at the very least, there's been some improprieties. There's been some things going on, too much contact. I mean, I'm always leery when our own government has too much intimate contact with a perceived enemy. It reeks of impropriety, reeks of things going on that should not be transpiring. So I'm with Carol on that. There's definitely something there, and the fact that our intelligence agencies, who would know, have all stated without a doubt that something's going on. Something out of line transpired, but our current administration didn't really embrace that conclusion, which I find preposterous. But that's just my own take on it. So, and the deep state scenario is kind of like disclosure with UFOs. Nobody really knows. Nobody can really define what that term means. So everyone has a different take on it, different definition they apply to that. So I'm not really sold on that either. I mean, big money controls a lot of things in the world. The fossil fuel industry controls things. The military-industrial complex does, but an overall deep state, I don't know. I'm not really crazy about that.
It's worth noting that deep state, while it's become practically like a mainstream right-wing term, it originated with QAnon, who is a crazy guy who anonymously posts theories about how the government is controlled by a bunch of Democrats who are Satanists. You know, Hillary Clinton was actually arrested by Trump but replaced by a body double. You know, all this crazy nonsense. Like, that's where deep state comes from.
So maybe I'm getting a little loose with my terms here, you know. First of all, I'll throw in New World Order, Illuminati. I don't know, but I do believe that there is a loose conglomerate of people who are making major decisions for the rest of us, and we have no idea who they are.
Yeah,
that's one of the things I definitely agree with. They're loose, though. I don't think they have like meetings, and it's not like not George Burns, Mr. Burns and Count Chocula.
There's just a Facebook group with all the billionaire industrialists.
Right.
Just like,
should
we raise oil prices?
Totally.
Maybe.
666 Chan or something. You know?
Oh, God.
But as far as Trump, Russia, here's mine, and it's very unpopular. I'm a liberal for those who are listening, but of course, I live in Reading, so I have tons of non-liberal friends. I think people need to get along. Here's my take on Trump.
Yep.
I think Trump was accidentally manipulated due to his own ignorance of the process. I don't think that he intentionally set out to manipulate the election. I think he set out to manipulate his own life, and then when he actually started to win and stuff, he found himself in a weird situation because he had done these things. I don't think he set out like a Bond villain to do this. I think Russia was doing this, and I think Trump was an unwitting part of the election aspect when all he wanted to do was make billions of dollars by putting up hotels.
That's reasonable. I should point out that that's still illegal, though.
Oh yeah, I'm not defending it. I'm just I'm just putting it out there. And then the concept that I'm thinking of when I think of deep state, we had a friend. We'll just use his first name. His first name was Joe. Who basically felt that
just the producer of our show.
There was this power to take over the world, but it was actually coming from the liberal side, and it was coming from this sort of like United Nations controlling people and this whole homogenization of society that basically would keep everybody down. And, there is something to be said that people who have something to lose don't revolt. And if you keep people caught up in their car payments and their debts and stuff like that, they don't revolt. I mean, here I am with my wife, and we don't drop everything and go running off to Hawaii because we have stuff we need to juggle. We don't have the freedom to do that. So I definitely understand that there is a possibility of the control. So I think they both could be going on at once.
Okay, well, when you frame it like that, I actually do kind of agree, because basically what Joe was saying was that liberalism was a plot to keep people from revolting, and actually that is literally true. Like, if you look at the history of the New Deal, FDR didn't create that out of the goodness of his heart. He created it because the Civil War happened in living memory, and the rich people didn't want to get guillotined while the Great Depression was going on.
Right.
Like, the whole neoliberalism as it exists now is basically the idea that capitalism needs government intervention to not collapse, which basically means giving people stuff so that they don't become too poor and shoot people. So, yeah, if you define it like that, then I guess basically you could say that there's a conspiracy happening there.
Well, it sounds like we might have solved the first one that we were talking about, which is the shootings. Maybe these people got too poor. These people got too lost.
That's literally what I think it is. I mean, people are like, well, these other countries have stronger gun laws. It's like, these other countries have free college, free childcare, free healthcare. They work fewer hours a week. They have maternity leave. They have all kinds of things that we do not have. Right. So, that's probably a factor as well. Just saying.
But maybe that makes them more repressed. Maybe that just makes them more repressed by that deep state.
I would say shooting a bunch of people is a very non-repressed thing to do. That doesn't make it good.
Yeah, I guess you're right. All right, we're coming up on break here. We're talking. I'm Chauncey. That's Kara, and that's William, and we are talking about conspiracies and mysteries on the whole. When we come back, what are we going to hit? When we come back, we're going to talk about the paranormal, demons, exorcisms, and the Antichrist. You're listening to Radio Wasteland.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
welcome back to Radio Wasteland. We are talking about mysteries all over the world.
No, I like mysteries. I think that's how we say it now.
That is how we say it now. All right, so this next one I think is going to be a little tough for us because I don't think any of us have a huge belief in religion.
No.
No.
You know, and I find spirituality on the whole difficult because to me, by definition, spirituality, God, and any of that stuff is outside of the realm of my capacity to understand. So if it does exist, I think that humans are incapable of understanding it because it's so far outside of our capabilities. You know.
Okay.
Possibly, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know what started everything, if anything started everything, if what's going on, but I'm saying if there is some sort of godlike power out there, I'm sure that I'm not thinking on its level.
What are your topics?
Right. Okay. You just want me to go on to the topics.
I want to hear the list.
Okay. The list is, first up is paranormal in general, demons and exorcisms, and the Antichrist.
Okay.
Now, these are big things with people. The Antichrist maybe should have been thrown in the last set with the deep state and the Illuminati.
Yeah.
You know?
Perhaps, yeah.
But, you know, William, we've had you on the show several times talking about UFOs and aliens. You know, what's your take on paranormal in general? Like, what's your take on ghosts?
Well, there's a lot of things that go on in our physical world we can't explain. Now, part of that, I think, and that's just my personal take, part of it is that our knowledge of the world around us is limited. We're limited. Our knowledge increases as time goes on. So it's safe to assume things go on that are reported that we can't explain at this point. Maybe in the future we can. But I'm open to possibilities that there are other planes of existence out there. There's other entities. There are just things we can't explain that are non-mundane. They're out of the ordinary, at least. So that I guess in a general way is paranormal.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to investigate though, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You know, to me, there's a big parallel there with UFOs in the sense that it's very normalized because we all know somebody who has a belief or had an experience or something like that. We all know somebody who has this, so it's very normalized.
Something like a third of Americans say they've seen a ghost. So,
right,
that's the number. Yeah. So,
right, you're not like walking down the street and people are just all like, "Oh, I saw the Beast of Bray Road for the third time last week," and you know, like 5 of my friends just told me that. You know, it's like these things are very common and very much a part of our lives, all the way back in history. These things are very connected in our lives. So I have a hard time deciding how I feel about them because, for one, I feel that they can be very connected with spirituality.
Sure.
You know, it seems like every paranormal group now has a medium. You know, psychic medium.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But you know, under paranormal, that also brings around psychics. You know, Kara, what's your take on a psychic?
Well,
not a medium, but a psychic.
Actually, I have kind of a weird take on psychics. I actually think that's a thing. I don't know if I believe in psychics, but I believe in psychic phenomena. But I think that basically it's useless. Like, so the government had a program for a lot of years, psychic spying, that sort of thing. They had some very dramatic hits. They had a lot of failures. And eventually it was shut down because, you know, basically it wasn't that practical. But lots of very rigorous, skeptical scientists have done research in parapsychology on the subject of, like, psychic phenomena, and they've discovered that, yes, under certain conditions, people do know things slightly more than chance. Not enough to be useful for anything, but slightly more than chance for reasons that are spooky.
Right.
Now, what does that mean? Does that mean, you know, there are problems with the methodology of the experiment? Well, maybe there are, but not any more than there are with any other experiment. So at the very least, that says something interesting about the process of science. Maybe it says, you know, we're all connected through some fundamental psychic force. that's a huge leap from the available data. But
it's not necessarily a huge leap. I think it kind of loosely fits into the concept of string theory that all things are. You need us to take a break while you answer that, Kara. Whatever, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mute your phone next time. Man.
I just, my phone went off, and I don't respect
William, you want a job?
So I thought I'd answer it.
But yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, and I totally do, Kara. William, what's your take on psychics? And I guess
I'm
we
kind of along the same lines as Kara. There seems to be. She's right. Skeptical scientists have investigated that realm of the paranormal, and they've discovered that certainly some individuals have some penchant to know things a little more often than normal. It just stands out above the average, but it's not to a point. It's not, the abilities are not to a point where they're useful per se. It's beyond random knowledge. They're able to foretell some things occasionally, but the success rate doesn't make it workable. I guess in other words, it's for the military or the government. It's not worth spending taxpayer dollars to keep chasing this golden fleece and try to make it work. It's just an ability that some individuals have. As to how and why, I have no idea. But yeah, it's out there. But I don't know if certain individuals have enough of the ability to actually foretell the future on a consistent basis. I don't believe in that. No.
Yeah.
All right, so we only got a few minutes before we move on to the next one, so let's hit this one. This is going to be a rough one. Demons and exorcism. You think there's any, William, we'll go with you first. Do you think there's any credence? Do you find any possibilities in there?
I have a difficult time. I mean, I'm an atheist, so anything that's kind of afterlife, I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, demons, creatures, or entities that have not so goodly intent in store for us. I don't know. And exorcisms, to my way of thinking, is kind of going along the lines of spiritualism down that road toward religion.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know. I don't know. I apologize.
No, that's
Believe
a good
me,
answer.
If we knew, we'd all be rich. What do you got there, Kara?
I think there's a pretty shocking amount of eyewitness reports of demons and that kind of thing. I don't exorcism is a Catholic thing. It's specifically a Catholic thing.
Yeah, I'm going with the concept though.
Kind of. Yeah, it's kind of branched out a little bit, but I'm not sure if I believe in exorcisms, but every society in history has had a concept of demons, just as they've had a concept of ghosts, and
right. Yeah,
so I guess I'm not ready to discount it, but it is hard to believe.
Well, one of my favorite things that I like to ask mediums when we have on the show is, they're talking about the dead and communicating with the dead and so on. For those of you out there who don't know, a psychic is psychic powers, and a medium communicates beyond the grave, just to put it out there loosely. I always like to ask them, are there any entities out there that were never alive?
Right. And they always say yes.
They always say yes. So if we believe in astral planes and we believe in even outside the realm of spirituality, as spirituality is a science we don't understand yet, and transdimensional hoo-has and whatnots, maybe there's critters out there that sucking your brain blood, your brain juices.
Sure, I suppose they could be.
That's an evocative way to say that.
I'm a scientist. Yeah. What can you do?
I think Whatnots. That sounds like a good name for a band.
Yeah, the Whatnots. I bet you it is.
The astral Whatnots.
The astral Whatnots. Yeah, totally. And so I take it. We got about a minute till break here. I take it we're all pretty much a no on the Antichrist.
Yeah, no, that's not a thing.
We're no. Yeah.
I know, and I hate that, because it's I was raised Catholic, and I have to thank the Catholic religion for giving us some of the greatest horror films of all time.
Oh yeah, it's such a cool concept.
Horror in general, in Western horror, would not exist without the Catholic religion to really just sort of fuel it.
That's so true.
Yeah, so you got to give props where props are due, Yeah. All right, you're listening to Radio Wasteland. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about cryptids with our guest, William Pullin. So, come back.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Vicky Wills.
This is the restless and smoke cigars, 'cause the very first shuttle to the planet Mars was a disco queen in 76. Castrates cows as she gets her kick. She buys them up and shoots them down like Billy the Kid in Jonestown. Through the demolition derby with the guys at the gym. Just to up a caddy and she rubber the trail.
You're listening to Free Fire Radio 96.5 FM, 1460 AM. You're listening to Radio Wasteland with Chauncey and Kara. Find all our shows and archives by visiting Radio Wasteland at radiowasteland.us.
All right, welcome back to Radio Wasteland and our guest, William Pullin, as we're talking about everything but UFOs and aliens. We've covered the government and all the crazy stuff that their government does, and we've covered the paranormal and demons and exorcisms and psychics.
We've been very busy.
We have been busy. So so now, how about some cryptids? You know, cryptids is a really interesting one
Cool.
because it hasn't been around quite as long as the others, but, man, people have been going hard at it.
Very true.
Yep. Yeah.
So let's take the biggest one first, or at least the most famous.
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot.
Okay.
Bigfoot.
I think Bigfoot's probably the most famous.
That's
Kara,
two of us. Yeah.
Yeah. Kara, where are you at on Bigfoot?
You know, this may be kind of weird because, like, I don't want to dismiss ghosts because there are so many, like, eyewitnesses who have seen ghosts. And there are a lot of Bigfoot witnesses. But it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, at least not as it being a real animal.
Ghosts make sense to you, then?
Kind of, yeah. They're incorporeal, so, you know, of course there's not going to be physical evidence.
I see.
But, you know, the Bigfoot, where are the tracks? Well, okay, there are some tracks that people say maybe there are, but nothing.
That's why they call it Bigfoot.
Right, but nothing conclusive. No bodies, you know, no little Bigfootlings in captivity.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the
It's
term
good
is.
enough, I'll take it.
For any
That's a good
Bigfoots who are listening, I'm sorry. I know my terminology is very offensive, but like, I don't know.
I believe they're squatchlings, but continue.
Squatchlings. Okay.
Squatchlings?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's some sort of like prehistoric hominid ghost or something, but I don't think there could be a real primate out there in the wilderness.
So if you had to bet your life one way or the other, you'd go no.
Yeah, I'd go no.
All right. What about you, William? How you feel about the Bigfoot?
I'll go yes. I'll go back to Squatchlings. That's another great name for a band. But
I agree.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. No, I go the other direction. I mean, in recent history, there's been large mammals discovered on islands in recent times. Animals that were over 200 kilograms, and there was no physical evidence of their existence until they were found. I don't know. I don't know if Bigfoot actually exists, but I think the possibility is there because could a large undiscovered hominid species exist in North America? I can't discount it. I think it could. I think it's not very possible, but the possibility is there. I mean, because in the past there's been other examples of creatures that have been discovered that scientists had no idea they even existed, and then they came across them. So, I guess that's a soft yes, but not a definitive yes. So, Chauncey, I apologize.
Yeah, no, I'm a hard maybe on this one.
Hard maybe. Okay.
Well,
not a soft yes, but a hard maybe.
Right. Well, yeah.
Y'all are non-committal. I'm over here with my no, and you're all there with your soft maybes and your hard yeses.
Right. Well,
damn it, Kara.
I think one thing I always bring up when Bigfoot comes up is that the mountain gorilla was discovered in 1902.
Okay.
So it's like that's not that long ago. We're looking at 117 years ago.
But there are
big technological jumps since then with satellites and boats. I get you.
Okay. I don't have to say.
Yeah.
I get that. But I have to say that Bigfoot, possible, I guess. Possible. Because if something is out there, so look at it this way, like the Bengal tiger and the other ones that we found, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So some of these were cryptids at one point. We go, oh my God, we thought this thing was dead. And look, it's back.
Right.
Now
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
imagine one of these things that's almost as smart as a human that doesn't want to be found, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're brown bagging their scat and getting it out of there. They're not letting you find them. They're covering up their trails. They're, you know.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
I mean,
that's a possibility. I mean, if it's a hominid, hominids are pretty intelligent creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're also
they know
curious
how to hide.
creatures.
But Kara's right. On the other hand, you think we would have found a body at some point.
Right.
At some point, an accident would have happened, or a mountain lion caught one, or a hunter accidentally shot one thinking it was a grizzly. Something would have happened.
Or a sick
And it hasn't
Bigfoot
happened
wandered
yet, so-
into a suburb, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, there's good arguments both ways. So I'll stick with the soft yes. I apologize again.
That's an acceptable answer. All right, what about Nessie? Loch Ness Monster, Champ, Plesiosaur.
No.
What do you think?
Oh, man. My heart cries for plesiosaur.
You want one?
But I don't know. I mean, the first thing I think of is there can't possibly be one creature. You would have to have a breeding population
Yeah,
for it to exist.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, a plesiosaur is not the kind of animal that could really hide, much less 20 or 30 of them.
Right.
And to really have a vibrant population, you need to have hundreds.
Yeah. Or you have a seriously inbred Nessie, you know, where it's like neck.
Yeah,
is like
that would be really.
it's like
troublesome.
one-eyed with a neck
messy.
like a corkscrew or something, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of bad dating going on. So.
And also Nessie is a tough one because the initial stuff that set up Nessie for the new generation of cryptid hunters was proven to be a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so not to say that there wasn't historical stuff back there, but the first piece of evidence that people ever tried to bring forward was proven to be a hoax.
Yeah,
and that's the one they rely on a lot of the time today without pointing out that it was a hoax.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to move on from we were going to talk about Mothman, Chupacabra, Dogmen, and werewolves. I get where we're going with this.
Okay, that's fine.
These two clump together, flat Earth and chemtrails.
Oh God.
You know, these are the rough ones. These are flat Earth, chemtrails, Pizzagate, stuff like this. These are the ones that are just like, so flat Earth. Okay, is it possible? Open your mind as far as you possibly can. Is it possible that the Earth is flat and we just don't know it? Kara, go.
No.
I'm not just in the no camp.
William's all ready to say no. He's all, I'm Kara, no.
I'm not just in the no camp. I'm in the no and also get some therapy camp.
Right, you're in the bleep no camp.
Right, like, I think the explanation for why people believe this stuff is a much more, compelling mystery than is it true.
Yeah.
Because it's just self-evidently not.
All right, and we've figured out what William thinks.
Yeah, it's a capital N, capital O. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's no.
I'm a serious.
Yeah, I would kick you out of my UFO group if I found that out. No, that's like individuals in UFO lore. The community said, "Well, I know all the answers to the UFO enigma." Really? Okay, fill us in, and then they just go silent. No, that's like Elvis is alive, flat Earth. We didn't go to the moon.
Oh, yeah,
that's come on, that's all.
Elvis being alive, I'll roll with that one. That one's fairly innocuous. That's not going to hurt anybody. I'll roll with some Elvis.
True. Yeah. But a definitive no.
I'm a soft maybe for Elvis. But a definitive no for flat Earth. All right, so this one is a little more plausible. This is more plausible. Chemtrails is a little more plausible. We know that we have the ability to manipulate the weather.
Sure.
I mean, there is cloud seeding. These things do go on. I think HARP might actually have existed where they were microwave heating the atmosphere for weaponized purposes. But do you think that, William, do you think we're being chemtrailed?
No.
You're no?
No.
Yeah. I don't know.
I've gone from a soft yes to definitive no's.
Yeah, well, you gotta have
no. It's no.
Yeah, if they're all soft yeses, they can't all be. If they're all soft yeses, you'll end up sounding like George Norrie. You can't.
Exactly.
True.
You got to have some definitive
horrible.
no's.
Okay. Well, everything. Okay. Well, I got to change my mind here.
No offense, George, I love you, but you believe everything that anybody ever tells you.
Yeah, because it would be terrible if Radio Wasteland ended up like coast to coast, you know.
Oh,
that would be,
rich
that would
and
be horrible,
ultra successful.
What, with a paycheck?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
That'd be absolutely
That'd be just dreadful.
All right, so you've been listening to Radio Wasteland. We've been talking about everything that may or may not exist, and we figured out that all of these things may or may not exist. So, job well done.
Yeah,
job
mission
well done.
accomplished.
Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Awesome. All right, William, thank you very much for being on the show. We always love to have you, and we hope to have you again.
Thanks again.
All right, you guys have been listening to Radio Wasteland. All right, welcome back to Radio Wasteland. Kara, let's talk about what we got going on next week. I don't actually have it in front of me, but I think it has some sort of lizard man situation.
Lizard man situation. Okay, yeah. I'm into that.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I'm just all like, okay, I'm sold. I'm sold on this. All right, here we are. Lyle Blackburn.
Mm-hmm.
And the topic is the Bishopville Lizard Man.
Bishopville Lizard Man.
Yeah, Lyle Blackburn is a native Texan known for his work in writing music, film, and cryptid research. Author of several acclaimed books, including The Beast of Boggy Creek and Lizard Man.
Interesting.
The subject matter reflects his lifelong fascination with legends and citing reports of unknown creatures. Lyle is also the founder of the rock band Ghoultown, awesome, and narrator and producer of documentary films, including The Mothman of Point Pleasant and Boggy Creek Monster.
Okay, so first of all, I love him.
Yeah.
He's perfect. He's everything I want to be.
Yeah.
Second of all, I've actually heard a fair bit about Lizardmen. It's one of those like lesser known sort of cryptid situations, but there have been a lot of Lizardman sightings, especially in sort of the southeast. You know, Louisiana, Florida, that kind of place.
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head here. Let's from his website, LyleBlackburn.com.
Sure.
From the swamplands near Bishopville, South Carolina, comes reports of a 7-foot-tall, scaly humanoid creature the locals call the Lizard Man. Over the years, the creature has been seen by numerous witnesses, including a teenager who claimed it attacked him one night near a remote area called Scape Ore Swamp. The young man's testimony and physical evidence was so compelling, it not only launched a serious investigation by the local sheriff's office, but an all-out monster hunt that drew hundreds of people to the small town.
Okay, so remember when we had Linda Godfrey on?
Yeah.
And she talked about how she was working as a reporter in this relatively small area. She goes and is, like, trying to investigate one of these sightings of the Beast of Bray Road.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking to this, I think it was a sheriff, who pulls out a file labeled werewolf when she talks to him about it.
Right.
And that was, like, the start of this long, long journey.
Right.
This sounds like the same kind of situation.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, and I have to say, Andrea, I don't know what to call Andrea. We need a title for her. What was she? Chief Outreach Officer?
I think she's our puppet master.
Esquire. Puppet Master Esquire.
Yeah.
She definitely nerded out when she found out that this guy was coming on the show.
Oh, yeah.
So this was somebody she was already very familiar with. So
most excellent.
So I think we're about to be in the company of greatness.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I love hearing about the lesser-known cryptids because I think Bigfoot, Nessie, frankly I think they've sold out. You know,
totally.
I'm not interested in them. They've got
too many book deals.
Too many book deals. Too many sightings. You know, too many people. Like everyone's got a piece of the Bigfoot pie. Come on,
yeah.
Mothman. You've got Point Pleasant. They've seen him there for 10 years and then it stopped. That's something I can respect. He made his mark. He made his artistic statement. Right. He destroyed the Silver Bridge and killed hundreds of people, and then he vanished into the ether.
He was like my cat. He went off to die alone.
Exactly. Like a cryptid
There's something noble about that.
Exactly.
Know? My cat's just all, I appreciate what you've done for me, and now you don't have to try to figure out what to do with my cat corpse.
I'm sorry about your cat, Chauncey.
It was a while ago. I think I'm ready to talk about it. You know? All right, so that's exciting. All right, so, I'm always excited when we have a new topic on that we have just never hit before. Mm-hmm. So anybody out there listening, Lizard Man, next time with Lyle Blackburn, and it's a brand new topic, and we're excited for it, And until then, do whatever it is you do.
Stay scaly.
Stay scaly. Good night.